everyone, welcome to another edition of Q&A. I'm Jenny, I'm here with Steve and Paul answering your questions that come into the Q&A@gmail.com email address or the Twitter at Q&A Twitter account. This week we've got some good questions. This one comes from Jose all the way out in the Philippines.
Hi, Jose.
He asks, nice. Is that how you say hello?
It's kind of like a V, yeah, sorry. Sure.
Why do some SSD capabilities come in 120, 240, and 480 gigabytes? Why not 128, 256, and 512? Are they over-provisioned out of the box, or is it something else?
Yes, they are over-provisioned out of the box. SSD capacities are going to be heavily reliant on a few different factors. One is just the number of actual NAND chips. The number of actual NAND chips that you have installed will give you what is essentially the physical capacity of the SSD. And every instance that I'm aware of, you actually have more physical capacity on the SSD than what is addressable by the end user when you format the SSD. So a lot of that extra space or spare area is used for what's called over-provisioning. So as data is written to an SSD, you can't necessarily go in and just change one bit of data or something like that. It has to take a block, clear it, update it, and rewrite it. That's what the trim service, whatever the trim thing that happens actually does, is it clears out partially written blocks of data so that they're fresh and clean and can be easily written to. Having more spare area for that means that it has more space to do that action. Spare area also allows it to cycle and do what's called wear leveling, which basically writes to different areas of the SSD at different times to evenly wear out all of the NAND rather than just hammering one chip until it's dead or something like that. So depending on the manufacturer, depending on the controller of the SSD, that might be set up in different ways. But that's where you often see 240 gigs instead of 256 gigs. Both SSDs might have the same capacity in them. It just means that one might have a different controller that handles the wear leveling differently or the over provisioning differently. Yes, so hopefully that explains that.
That cleared that right up.
Yes.
Hey guys, love your videos. I have a Geforce Gtx 770 FTW edition with the EVGA ACX cooler. When I play my games on high to ultra settings, the temps get in the high 70s and low 80s. Is that an acceptable temperature? If not, what should I do without turning the graphics settings down? Would another card help? Thanks, Keegan.
Well,
go for it, Paul.
Okay. For a 770 high 70s and low 80s with an ACX cooler, it's not like crazy hot. It's within an acceptable range. I'm guessing since it's summer right now, that might have a little bit to do with it. I don't know if you're playing in an air-conditioned environment or anything like that. But if it's warmer in the room, then the system is going to run warmer. If you're really that concerned about it, I'd say load up EVGA Precision X, turn on the sensor functions so that it will log the frequency that the CPU is running in the memory. Just check that play game for a little while and check that log and see if the CPU or the GPU is throttling down, because GPU Boost 2.0 will automatically lower the frequency of the GPU if it gets too hot. But even in the low 80s, you should still be fine. And as long as it's not going too much beyond that, then you're probably okay. The only other thing I might say is double check your cable management in your case. Make sure everything's tied down. Make sure you've got plenty of open airflow going to that graphics card. And if it's something that's really a concern for you, maybe consider adding another intake fan or something like that, just to push a little bit more fresh, cooler air towards the GPU.
To add to that, Paul, I would say back in the day when I couldn't afford a nicer case that didn't already have a 120 or 140 millimeter fan mounting area right on the side panel, I would just cut it out with a Dremel, drill 4 holes in it, and just put it right over the graphics card. But obviously, you probably already have an area to do that if you don't already have a fan there. Maybe clean out the fan, make sure that, like Paul was saying, that plenty of airflow is going there.
Yeah,
I find that a direct,
filters.
I find that a fan being placed right over the GPU is a really quick and easy way to keep it cooler. So.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, last question from the emails. We have, hi Newegg Team, I have an MSI Gaming laptop that has an upgradable video card, but I can't find a place where I can get one and mine is starting to glitch. I can only find ones on eBay, but I don't really trust the used cards like the ones I can find. Is there any place where I can get one if not on Newegg? If I am able to get them on Newegg, I have searched but can't find them. And that comes from JP Kia.
What's up, JP? Yeah, you probably won't find those on Newegg. In fact, you probably won't be able to find a mobile graphics card like new in-box retail. You won't find that. They don't sell them to end users. They sell them in bulk to OEMs like MSI or Asus or Lenovo, and they integrate them into the cards or into the laptop. So your best bet is going to find the exact model of your laptop, or the same series at least, that has the same housing and everything. Find somebody who has, because people will buy damaged laptops, that sort of thing. They'll take them apart and they'll sell them individually on eBay. I know it's a bit more of a risk, but that's really the only place to find those types of cards. But again, make sure that you get the same model or the same series of laptop that you already have, to make sure that physically that GPU will fit in there, that it'll have the same connector type and everything. And particularly, you said it's upgradable, so I'm guessing you don't have a soldered on GPU, but that's an important thing to make sure that it will drop in and fit within that space. But yeah, you're not going to find a new in-box mobile GPU from Newegg or anything like that. Unfortunately, the DIY laptop game, they tried to get it started, I feel like, in the mid-2000s. You could buy like a bare bones laptop and add your own parts, but it's too proprietary, it's too small, the space is too cramped. They kind of have to be purpose built. I
don't really mess with that, yeah. If it breaks for me, it's like, nah, all right. You know.
For laptops, I'll upgrade storage, like an SSD or a hard drive. I'll add memory. I've swapped out an LCD screen that's broken.
Yeah,
that's not terribly difficult, but getting into like the motherboard GPU configuration, unless you're using the exact same swap-in parts, it's difficult. And then I think Jenny suggested also earlier that you might contact MSI, see if the laptop's still in warranty. If it's still in warranty, they should handle that if the GPU isn't working properly. But I would say hit them up even if it's not in warranty. Just say, here's the situation. Can you pay for a repair service or something like that, or would they be willing to sell you a replacement GPU? That would probably be your best bet for getting something a little bit more legit straight from the manufacturer.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so I'm going to spring for a couple questions here off of the Twitter. The first one comes from at Logan Amos92. He asks, I'm looking to build a karaoke rig for my family and was wondering, besides the usual, is there anything else I might need? No, man, besides, wireless mic and some disco lights. What is usual about building a karaoke rig? I think it's awesome. I totally never thought about having one in my house, but now I'm thinking about it.
I've never built a karaoke rig. Steve, you've done a few, right?
No, actually I haven't. In this particular case, I know my sister has a business up in Northern California where she does, and she said that they now have files that are akin to MP3s that basically, I guess it'd be more like an MPEG file because it has video into it too. But then you basically have everything you need in a digital format versus having it digitally on optical media. And essentially she just brings her laptop in, hooks it up to the soundboard and everything else that she goes to different shows with, and that seems to be working great for her. Well, I don't know very much about that. I would say, for me, karaoke is like Steam, download Sing It on Steam, and then I just bought that for my wife. So,
I didn't even know that existed. That's awesome.
Yeah, so you just set up a wireless head. You look like an idiot, of course, but wireless headset would be the easiest way to do it. Hook it up to your HT PC at home, and then use the TV there.
And then annoy everyone around
pretty
you.
Much. Yeah, pretty much.
Excellent.
The only thing that comes to mind for me would be some sort of specialized sound card, but I'm not directly aware of any that are like specifically made for karaoke. But something that would allow you to have multiple mic inputs. I think, in particularly wireless would be helpful for that as well.
Didn't Sound Blaster
you need to be able to do a duet.
Yeah, like Sound Blaster has some that has an extra 5 1/4 inch bay that you can add on there that has some extra stuff. That, or just get a sound card that has discrete inputs and everything, and then maybe buy like a little soundboard or something like that you can just plug in as many mics as you want, and then
that'd be the smartest way to
route that into your computer. That could be another option. But yeah, I don't think karaoke is terribly system intensive, so I don't think you'd need really high-end graphics or CPU or anything like that. I'd say mostly focus on the sound, to make sure you can hear the beautiful singing and get some reverb in there. It sounds like crap without reverb.
So the next question comes from Star Raisin, and he asks, what is your favorite kind of milk, plain or chocolate?
with those restrictions, I'm going to go with regular milk, but I have my preferences to milk substitutes.
Milk substitutes.
Mine
Like
is
coconut
chocolate.
milk or vanilla
I like Nesquik.
Nesquik?
Oh yeah.
It's good. It's excellent.
I don't like it in the pre-mades though. I like to be able
You
to
gotta add
control
your
my
own.
own chocolate distribution.
I used to make chocolate milk with Nesquik and then the malted milk, like the carnation malted milk.
Ooh,
and that's more
good.
like a dessert. These days I don't have that very often, so I'd probably say chocolate, but I mean most of the time now I drink actually like almond milk.
Yeah,
and stuff
that's-
like
Yeah.
that. My wife is lactose intolerant, so that's much preferable.
Almond milk's
almond
good.
milk or soy milk.
I drink
it's
almond
pretty-
milk actually every morning with chocolate protein shake mix in it.
Oh,
Mixing it up.
there's your answer right there.
Delicious. Okay, and then I think our last one coming in from the Twitterverse this week. Let me see. Comes from the Intel guy, and he asks two questions. One, is it okay to use a magnetic screwdriver near a hard disk? Yes. And two, will you do more live builds on Twitch? Have we done any live builds?
We did kind of one with JJ.
Yeah. That's a really popular one too.
Everybody remembers
Which is
that.
funny because we did not
So
finish.
long
We
ago.
We're
Oh,
gonna
that's
have to
right.
cut
That was
this
the
one
first
short.
live show I was on. I was like, it was an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And I went into overtime. I had to leave. You guys still hadn't even installed
We didn't
anything.
finish. Well, because JJ, somebody asked JJ a question in chat, and he's sitting there talking about it because he gives such thorough answers and
He
he's so
answers in paragraph
knowledgeable.
form. Yeah.
But yeah, there was some incompatibility that cropped up with what we were trying to put together.
I totally forgot
forget,
that.
but yeah,
That's
I remember
funny.
that's one of the builds that we actually didn't complete. I'm down to do more live builds on Twitch. That's something that if we hear the feedback from you guys, that's what you want to see.
Definitely.
I'm down to do it.
And also, we're trying to get more special guests in the studio to help with those types of things. So hopefully
yeah.
we can make that a reality. But definitely your demands on our YouTube channel help.
Tremendously.
So go demand it on the Alt-Tab show
And yeah.
on Fridays.
And use mechanical screwdrivers. They're extremely helpful, and they won't everything like
Mechanical or magnetic?
magnetic. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, magnetic screwdrivers. Pretty much everything in your system is shielded to some degree, and you would need a
massive.
much stronger magnet
Yeah.
than what's in a magnetic screwdriver to actually hurt.
The
anything.
magnetism of a magnetic screwdriver isn't enough. But they are awesome for those tiny little screws that you just can't.
Seem to.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I guess that wraps up this episode of Q&A. Thanks, guys, for joining me this week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you all of you for tuning in. If you want to send us your questions, please email them to qnegg@gmail.com or @qnegg on Twitter. And we will see you next time on Newegg TV.
So long.
Goodbye.